Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Kaylin and I'm just going to make a quick video before I go out swimming with my kids. I can't believe it's nearly time to pick them up from school already. This day has flown in and I feel like I haven't got anything done yet. I went for coffee with my dad and I haven't done basic things like checking if my kids have made their beds, so I probably need to do that quickly. And Potato is now in a playful mood. I just took him for a second walk and it's really frosty outside today here. Like, I can't believe how cold it is. We're getting some work done in our house tomorrow because we have problems with condensation, so someone is coming out to put in fans and things, and I don't know if I'll get a chance to make a video tomorrow, so I decided to do it now. If you can hear very loud slurping, it's Potato drinking his water. So I just wanted to do like 10 things that we do to save money in our house, and hopefully it will be helpful to somebody or just remind you of things that you like to do. So number one is that I always use things to death and then I try to still get more life out of them. Like, I don't just throw things away for no reason or just because I'm bored with them or before they're done. I try to use things until they're fully finished. Like, if it's an appliance, I will use it until it is broken and I won't replace it until it is. Sometimes, like, I think it can be kind of a bad thing because, for example, I think I kind of got this from my parents because they do that with stuff and they have things in their house that they've had since like the 80s and it's still working perfectly fine. Although I think a lot of stuff was better made then and it was made to last. But for example, my mum had a bread maker that she didn't use and she got it it was when I was a teenager, so it's a long time ago. Then she passed it on to my sister and then my sister passed it on to me and it was basically starting to go on fire, so I had to get rid of it. But it really saddened me to throw it out because I really wanted to make use of it and I felt wasteful even though it had had a very long life for an appliance. But in other ways I think it can be a really good thing because it makes you resourceful and I don't waste things and I like to get as much use out of things that I buy as I can, and I think that's why it disappoints me when the quality of things isn't great nowadays, because I feel like things should last forever and they don't really. Like, we had to get a new sofa this year because ours was completely destroyed. Like, it didn't help that my kids used it as a trampoline, but it had buckled in the middle, so basically if you sat on it you slid into the middle and it was very uncomfortable and it was literally falling apart. So yeah, I don't get rid of stuff just because I want a new version of something, and the same applies to technology. If I get a new phone or a new computer or something, it's because the last one's completely dead. The second thing that we do to save money in our house is we use reusable kitchen roll, also known as paper towels in America. We have reusable baking sheets, which I love because it stopped me buying baking paper and I use them all the time and they're great. And I think they're made from silicone. They just have lasted really well and I just find them really useful. We have reusable wipes for like the kids. I have reusable makeup cloths, so I don't ever use disposable ones to remove my makeup. I always just use them like a face cloth with water, and I think it's better for your skin too. Yeah, I just love reusable products like that, and I don't like throwing away single-use items, so I try to never get a takeaway cup from a cafe, like a disposable one. I try to remember to bring my own cup whenever I can, or if I'm sitting in, I try to be very clear in stating that I am sitting in and I want I want a real cup, because I don't like, there's one Starbucks near us and I think they're just lazy because they just give you the takeaway cups even if they know you're sitting in, and it's just so wasteful. Like, I hate to see that. Number 3 is I shortened my showers a bit because I used to have very long showers and I would just space out in the shower and daydream, and although like it can be nice to do that sometimes as like a treat, I just decided to stop spacing out and just get washed and get out, and I don't rush it, but I probably have cut down my showering time by like half of the time and I still feel like I wash myself thoroughly. It's just that I'm not standing like in a daydream for ages in it, wasting water and heating and stuff. Number 4 is limiting light usage, which I feel like you really have to do with kids. I only have the lights on in here in daylight, by the way, for the sake of filming, because otherwise it's a bit too dark. But otherwise I wouldn't have any lights on whenever there is anything resembling daylight. I keep the blinds open all day, like until every bit of light's gone. And we go around and turn off lights after the kids all the time, and I try to limit the number of lights that we have on at any one time. Like I used to use lots of lamps and things like that when I was younger, but now I try to have one on in a room at any one time and just rotate them instead of having them all on at once. Or rechargeable battery fairy lights and candles, and I just like dim lighting as well. I really don't use the overhead lights in my house very much at all. Number 5 is sewing clothing that would be thrown out otherwise. I find myself sewing things all the time that a lot of people would probably just discard nowadays. Like the librarian and I were joking about how we spend half of our time sewing our kids' leggings back together. If there's like a little bit of a hole or a tear in anything, I sew it, even if it's a sock, and it probably is time consuming, but I would rather do that than just get rid of something before it's totally done. The only kind of exception to this is tights, because I don't know how to fix them if they've got a hole in them, or like, but I will usually wear them until the hole becomes annoying. So even with that, I try to get like as much use out of them as I can, but I do tend to invest in quality tights. Like I get my tights from Snag because I find that they don't tear easily, and it's worth like the price. They're not extortionate, but it's worth paying a little bit more for higher quality tights that won't just tear after one wear. Like I've had some of them for years, and I feel like I'm very hard on my tights as well because I do have a tendency to ladder them. Plus I have a dog, so he's always clawing at my legs, and just I'm always very busy with the kids and stuff, so, and I walk a lot, and yeah, I'm probably really hard on them, but I find those ones last very well. Number 6 is I keep like materials for junk art with the kids. Like I will, not everything, because I feel like you can get to the point where you start hoarding it, and that's not good either, but I try to keep things aside to do like seasonal crafts with them, like egg cartons and any cardboard that comes with like a parcel or whatever, because I just like to reuse it, and it saves you having to run out and buy craft supplies all the time. Number 7 is I use up food scraps. Like if we have a chicken, I will use every single bit of it. I will use the carcass to make soup, and I don't just like throw it away as soon as it's cooked. I use up vegetable scraps and things like that for making soups and in casseroles. I always use broccoli stalks as well as like the little, what are they called? Florets, is it? And if I have any fruit that is starting to look like it is like going to turn, I put it straight in the freezer and use it for smoothies, or you can use it in pies and things like that. So I do that a lot with things like blueberries. If we get a fruit like watermelon where there's a lot of it and we don't get through it all in time, I will cut it up and freeze it, because my daughters both love it in smoothies. So I just don't tend to waste a lot of food. I use up as much as I can, and if there's any like peelings and things like that, I try to put it in our compost bin in the garden. Number 8 is I try and clean and rotate the fridge regularly. I didn't used to be good about doing this. I was really lazy about it, but I've realised that it makes it so much easier to put away the food whenever it arrives, and it makes it much less stressful, and then you don't find horrible surprises in the back of the fridge or in the vegetable drawer. And it reminds you to use up the things that are kind of lurking in the fridge before they go off. Number 9 is I switched to using wax melts instead of candles, because I love burning candles, but I just find that in general they are much more expensive than wax melts. For example, at a fair at the weekend, I did buy some to kind of replenish my supply, because I'd used them all up during my no buy month, and I decided to buy the wax melts instead of the candles because they were £4 and the candles were like £24. And in general, I find that the wax melts last like as long as a candle would anyway, so I might as well, since I have a burner already, just get them and use tea lights that I get in bulk. So that's another way that I have saved money, because I'm not prepared to give up my candle addiction basically. And number 10 is I tend to stock up in phases and then use up things in phases. So if I see something that's like on offer, I will buy multiples, or if I have a little bit of extra room and I haven't spent as much of our grocery budget in a particular week, I will buy things like tins of tomatoes or pulses or like tins of coconut milk and just store extra ones so that I have them on hand. And I'm always really glad later on when I've done that, because it means if you have a day where you can't get out for some reason, or you like just don't feel like going shopping, you can kind of throw together something from what you already have in the house. So these are just a few tips that I use, and I hope somebody finds this helpful. And I'm going to go and pack my kids' swimming bags and get ready to go. The house is like a total state, but it's gonna have to wait. So I will see you soon, and I hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye.